Hello, this is Taina Mattiazzi. I'm an illustration major, and this is my first year portfolio. For 5 views of the head, having the guiding lines and measurements in blue helped me keep track of what I was doing and when I was doing it. The placement of the eyes was the biggest challenge. When you looked at them separately, they looked correct, but when you looked at the whole face and the eyes together, everything seemed a little bit out of place, so I actually had to redo them a few times. As someone who really enjoys drawing people, this exercise and project helped me to really capture the different angles of the face and a better way of sketching it out. And I'm hoping to take this forward because I tend to draw people facing forward most of the time, since it's the easiest to have that symmetry. Memories of a Meal was a project very close to my heart. It was emotionally driven, drawn from my own experiences, feelings, and mind. You can see it go from the small thumbnail on the left to the bigger sketch in the middle and the final product on the right. Her posture conveys the feeling and is what I spent the most time and energy on. It's this feeling of nostalgia and being stuck in old memories, transported through the meal and food in front of her. I wanted to be able to reflect this in the posture, and I spent quite a bit of time trying to achieve that. In the end, I'm glad I did because I was quite happy with the final product. For the 2D class, one of my favorite projects was this poster I did that you can see on the left called Aliens Taught Me This. It all started with the alphabet I created, you can see on the bottom, and it ended in a final folding booklet, you can see on the right. The booklet is folded out, so you can actually bring the edges in and flip through it like a book. And to unfold it feels like unfolding a mystery, revealing something like a secret. The process of sketching, outlining, and filling each symbol for the poster was painstakingly slow, but it was also incredibly rewarding. I had a lot of fun, and if you look closely, you can recognize the text that says "Aliens Taught Me This" running through the background with a large hello in front. This project is called Unassuming because it's a view from my bedroom window, and I worked on it when I had recently moved into this house. It's unassuming because I hadn't yet had an emotional connection to the window, and yet it was one of my favorite views of the house. I don't tend to gravitate towards landscape painting of any sort, so this proved to be a challenge. The paintings were small, but each one took a very long time to finish. I started with a bright orange background and layered the colors over it, spotting each color and mixing it as close as possible. The process of mixing the colors took a lot of time because I'm not used to mixing acrylic paint in this fashion, but I was quite happy with the result. Not if you look too closely, though, but I think that is a bit of the nature of the project. Because if you look too closely at the picture and then look at the same close-up of the painting, you will see that it's very rough and it doesn't quite match up exactly, but when you look at it from far away, it conveys the same feeling and atmosphere, which is what I was trying to achieve. Displacement is one of my favorite projects from this semester. It reflects how many are born into a body that is expected to stay hidden in a certain way, to be shown in a certain way, that is expected to be violated, stared at, or taken. This is especially true for female bodies. I chose to give that power to choose what onlookers see to the wearer. So when onlookers look at the mouth, looking for lips, the onlooker is made to look at the lips of a vulva instead. The displacement, it's essentially worn like armor, which is what I wanted the final product to resemble. You can see the helmet-like structure and the armbands especially reflect that. A bit of the process shown on the bottom and the right, and I hope you can see that I actually took a lot of planning and deliberating, and it was a very complex project, but it was one of my favorites, and I took a lot of pleasure in it because the topic was so close to my heart. This is a quite different medium, and it's actually a carved papaya. My apparent level of carving skills was a challenge because I'm used to being able to change mistakes or change, my choices. But in this case, once I carved something out, I couldn't necessarily add it back in, um, especially since the medium is food and I didn't want to be wasteful. In the end, I was happy enough with the final product. I had a lot of fun with the flute, with the explorations that you can see at the bottom. And the final product does resemble the mind vessel that I was trying to achieve. And if anything, carving the papaya was very satisfying. So at least there was that and the smoothness. This project, called Saudades, reflects my own saudades, which in Portuguese means the feeling of missing someone or something. I chose to narrate one timeline while showing bits and pieces of what was being remembered and what was happening in the present. It was a project that became an emotional outlet for myself, where I could speak freely through my art. I'll show just a little clip, but you can watch the entire thing in the linked video.
Hi, Taina here. I guess you already knew that.
For unnoticed, originally there was not enough disparity between the two halves. You can see this on the bottom left, and how it essentially looks like one picture, except for the fact that this person would have two heads. In order to make the difference more obvious, I desynchronized the time as well as the colors to highlight the mirrored aspect. Here's a little clip. Drawing studio course was the one I took in the fall semester. It focused on heads and hands. In each class, we sketched out drawings between 3 and 20 minutes. Here are the individual parts I drew, some of which are incomplete, like the hands on the left, and others which were more detailed, like the eyes, mouth, and ears on the right. We only did a few focused and detailed drawings. Mostly we focused on full portraits, as you can see here. Drawing out the skull before moving on to the full portraits was helpful to picture the head in a more three-dimensional manner versus just copying a photo in a drawing. I wanted to show the top left watercolor because it's one I actually incredibly disliked, because it doesn't resemble the photograph we were imitating at all, and the colors either look too saturated or too washed out, and it's just something that I really was not happy with it. It looks too flat. But honestly, this is pretty common in this class because I might draw 10 figures, but only like 1 or 2 of them. Except they all aided in improving my ability to quickly capture proportions, emotions, and atmosphere, even the ones that I disliked. This is it for me. Thank you so much for listening.